This week in class we discussed performance standards. So in our book in chapter 11 it discusses exactly what performance standards are. And basically during the employee training process, employees need to be aware of just exactly what their job responsibilities are and how they can know when they're meeting their standards or if they're failing to meet standards. So one article that I found is called The Dirty Little Secret of Successful Companies. And this was actually a blog in the New York Times by a man named Jay Goltz, who owns 5 small businesses here in Chicago. And over the years he's come to the realization that a lot of companies hire employees and after going through the training process realize that they just aren't suited for the job. He says that a lot of companies hold on to employees who they would rate as a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. And basically this means that they're not bad, but they're just not good, which means that they aren't meeting standards. Yet a lot of companies have a hard time letting these people go because they feel that they don't have an actual reason to fire them. And I think this also plays into being a friend or being the boss. And I think what employers need to remember is that they have a company to run and can't always be everyone's friend. There's a difference between having a strong relationship with your employees and being a friend to them. So what it comes down to is that you have a business to run, you have to make decisions, and sometimes those decisions are letting people go when they just aren't doing what's expected. So basically, he says that he's seen a lot of people in his company that he just says that they seem capable of doing the job, but they just aren't doing it. So he says that he's not the only one that has faced this problem, that a lot of companies see employees walk in and they're constantly 6s, they're just not doing what's expected. And I think that this seems to happen a lot in the hospitality industry because we can let go of bad service or bad food, but we don't really consider this in the way that we should in, for example, if you go to the hospital and you have to have surgery, would you want a doctor who's a 6 out of 10? No, you would want the doctor that's the most qualified to do the job. And we should expect the same in restaurants and hotels, in anywhere in the hospitality industry really, because we should have exceptional service no matter what we're doing. If we're getting surgery, if we're going to the mechanic, if we are going out to eat, we should expect the same service from anyone. So I think that employers need to consider that if someone is a 6, that they just are not doing a good enough job, and maybe they need to let that person go, or they need to reconsider their training methods. Are they doing something wrong as a company, or is the person just incapable of doing their job? So then I looked into different training methods that companies use, and I found an article in the New York Times called Hotel Chains Try Training with Improv and iPods. And basically companies have started to use iPods, PSPs, Improv to get employees through a more fun, interactive training process. For example, they found that creating a 20-minute DVD costs $250,000, whereas creating a video on the iPod costs somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. So companies would actually be saving money and getting employees through a more interactive experience. For example, the Elysian Hotel here in Chicago uses Improv to train employees. They use it for sales, catering, security, you name it. Pretty much any area in the hotel. They try to make the training process really fun and entertaining. So they say that improv gave them the tools that enabled them to be successful, because they were able to interact with other employees and just have fun, just let loose. So they were able to learn their job better in a different manner. So there are also hotels in New York that are using improv to train their employees. One hotel, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, it's called the Andaz. It does not have a traditional like registration desk where you go up and check into your room, but they have employees who are standing around in the lobby as guests walk in, approaching them, talking to them, kind of like hosts would in a restaurant. So for them, using improv was extremely successful because they needed their employees to be able to socialize and just go up to people and start conversations, and this proved to be a great way to train others. However, there is a concern that using technology and, such as iPods or PSPs would depersonalize the training process, and that's what they're trying to avoid. So improv is still more promising. So overall, I think I found that during the training process that it's important that employees are aware of their performance standards and that they can know exactly what needs to be done in order to meet standards so that they can keep their jobs. And I think that management needs to focus more on the training process rather than just throwing employees into a new job. Because if they show them exactly what's expected, then they can do that. They can do exactly what's expected, and there won't be any problems. They can have a successful company with happy employees who know exactly what they need to do, and they're going to do it. Seems simple enough, yet difficult to achieve for some reason. But I think that one last thing that they need to focus on is making sure that they give employees regular evaluations so they can know just exactly what level they're at, if they're meeting standards, and if they're not, how they can improve so that they can keep their jobs. So that was what I found.